Kimmie said, it's not that I don't think he's being sensitive to me. I think he's just more concerned about his needs. That's being insensitive. Isn't that being insensitive? Like, Kimmie, you're smarter than that. He's being a jerk, and he's being mean, and he's being disrespectful. He's being very insensitive. Like, I hate the way Kimmie keeps covering for him in this moment, where it's like, girl, you need the covering. You're the patient. You are the one who had cancer. He don't need no covering. What he needs to be doing is making sure that his wife is living and thanking God on his knees that you are still alive today to even talk about what you went through with the cancer. Oh, Lord. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Brandy Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brandy Yvonne. Here at my channel, we do fun, reviews, recaps, and discussions of all of our favorite shows, y'all. It's Saturday night, so we got to talk about OWN's Love and Marriage Huntsville. This is season 6, episode 28, I believe. I don't know how we got so many damn episodes, but the episode is titled Houston, Here is the Problem, something like that. Anyway, y'all, please hit that thumbs up button before you get off this video. Watch it all the way through, y'all. This is a growing channel, so I appreciate all the support. Y'all been coming through, subscribing, so please don't hesitate to subscribe to the channel if you already have not subscribed. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all thought of the episode and share the videos where you like to share your content, and turn on, hit the bell for the notifications, okay? Or turn on the post notifications, whatever it is on the YouTube. Anywho, let's get into this episode. It was kind of good. I mean, the main thing I care about this episode is that we finally got to Houston, right? Which means you're wrapping it up. That's all I care about, is that we finally got to Houston, okay? And it was entertaining. Anywho, so the episode basically picked up where they left off last week with the double date between Stormi and Courtney and Marsau and Latisha. So they basically picked up where they left off, where Marcel was saying, he ain't got time to be learning other people's culture, and teaching adults and all that. So Stormi immediately got mad, put the pool stick down. She said she ain't got time for this ish. And she went and took a phone call. She said she got to take a phone call. Marcel was like, this conversation got weird. Latisha was like, what happened that we was playing? Like, what happened? Stormi says in her confessional that she didn't like how Marcel had a condescending attitude, and she felt like when she shared the culture thing with him at the barbecue, it was a moment of vulnerability for her. And they replayed the clip in that moment, I believe, and she feels like now he's weaponizing it against her. And I'm just so confused. So y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments, because I'm like, Stormi, girl, what? What? Like, at the barbecue, to me, y'all were joking around about it, because he was saying, Stormi, you said that in your culture, like, that's how you talk. And she was like, yeah, it is. To me, it didn't seem like a thing where she was being so vulnerable, per se, or a heartfelt moment, wherever we want to call it. Like, that's not what it was giving. So I was very confused of why Stormi was upset by that and all of a sudden felt some type of way. And at the same time, Stormi, you called this man a bitch, so you're gonna get whatever he gives you back, girl. Like, what? So anywho, Stormi at this point is getting on my nerves, and I'm trying, girl, but you're getting on my nerves. So anywho, Tisha's like, girl, like, you invited us to play pool. Stormi over there talking about things come up, and she said, she just don't like, the energy and all that. And so Marcel's thing is like, if y'all want to continue to get to know each other, we could put the name calling down, we can move forward, that's great. If not, then we could just be passerby, passing each other by. So in the confessional, Marcel said it feels like Stormi and Courtney only want to be cool with us if they can call me a bitch. Like, if I don't let them call me a bitch, then we not cool. Tisha says Stormi seemed like she just talked to hear herself talk, and then if you call her out on what she say, then she get attitude and she don't like it, and that's exactly what it's giving. And even Kimmie called it out, okay? Marcel, that's a person I would never tussle with, because I hate him or love him, and Marcel is an a-hole, okay? We're not taking that from him, but he throw the best shade on this show out of anybody, okay? Because he knows how to get people and get under their skin. And he don't care that he's the villain, and he sits in it. And it sounds like he's always been like that before the show, based on things people have said, like comments Kimmie and everybody who already have been around him have said. So he's okay with being a condescending a-hole on the show. So I would never get into it with him because he doesn't mind getting it back into it with you. Like, he is petty. So anywho, and Stormi, you know, she didn't dish back the pettiness. Okay, that's what it is. So anyway, Courtney, meanwhile, he just trying to finish the game. That's all he's trying to do. Stormi says she felt like the energy was different even when she met with Tisha. So she said that she had a problem with Tisha from that. So Tisha was like, well, girl, okay, if that's like how you feel, that's fine. You got a problem with me. Don't be inviting us out for the double date then. Like, we could have stayed home. Tisha didn't give a F. So, Courtney was cool. Like, he shook Marcel's hand. I don't think Courtney has a problem. Stormi's the only one that has the problem. Courtney don't have no problem with Marsau. I don't think he ever had a problem with Marsau, even over the $100. He really didn't have that. Like, maybe a little bit with the $100 because the way Marsau did it. But other than that, he ain't had no problem with Marsau. Anywho, he could care less. So anywho, moving on from that, right? Then we get down to Maurice and Kimmie's house. They could have really kept this scene on the cutting room floor. I'm sorry, I love me some Kimmie, but I didn't need to see Kimmie straddling Maurice. I really didn't. I could have went my whole life without seeing that. So anyway, they have the sex therapist come over. Kimmie surprises Maurice with the sex therapist. He didn't know she was coming over. He talking about he didn't get a chance to vet her. He don't like therapy. Kimmie does. All right. So the therapist says she wants to separate them first and talk to them individually, then bring them back together, which Maurice does like the idea because then he could be open and honest. So the sex therapist is basically bouncing back and forth, asking them the same questions. She asked Kimmie, like, what made her want to do the therapy, and she explains how Maurice wants to have sex 3 times a day. She good with 2 to 3 times a week, but then, you know, she got cancer. She had to do, what did she say, 36 radiation treatments and 27 other treatments, chemo and surgeries. And ladies like, oh my gosh. And so she said since then she hasn't had a libido. Like, Kimmie has went through it. And, you know, these scenes with Maurice talking about, you know, because before the therapist came, he talking about, oh, you know, I still think this sex thing is in your head. Like, I really think, like, everything you need is right there. It's in your head. But I'm curious to see what the therapist is going to say. Like, I'm just sick of him saying that. I'm sick of these scenes. I know we all are. So she asked Maurice, like, you know, whose idea was therapy, the sex therapy. And so he said it was hers. He just found out about it today. And so she's also asking her, Kimmie, do you feel that Maurice is sensitive to your issues with you just, you know, having cancer and your libido not being where it needs to be? And she said, Kimmie said, it's not that I don't think he's being sensitive to me. I think he's just more concerned about his needs. That's being insensitive. Isn't that being insensitive? Like, Kimmie, you're smarter than that. He's being a jerk. And he's being mean and he's being disrespectful. He is being very insensitive. Like, I hate the way Kimmie keeps covering for him in this moment where it's like, girl, you need the covering. You're the patient. You are the one who had cancer. He don't need no covering. What he needs to be doing is making sure that his wife is living and thanking God on his knees that you are still alive today to even talk about what you went through with the cancer. Oh, Lord. Anywho, so she asked them both, she asked Maurice I forgot the question she asked him, but he said something about he feels like the cancer, you know, the libido thing's all in her head. Like, he's like, you know, I feel like it's just a mental block, really. It's a mental thing. Like, it's there. Like, then he compared it to having a eating disorder. You know, you can tell the person they skinny or they looking good, but they just don't see it for themselves. He thinks it's like that. I know that therapist was side-eyeing him in her mind, but she kept like a very neutral face. And so she did tell him, like, you know, based on what Kimmie's went through, like, you know, it's going to take patience from both of you. It's going to be hard to get back to that point. And so she asked them both about intimacy levels. I think Kimmie said 4. He said 2 or 3. So then she brought them out together. Maurice talking about he was fixed. Bye, Maurice. She said, actually, they basically were saying the same things. And the issue is that they communicate. They're basically saying the same things, but they don't communicate it with each other well where the other person can understand it. So it's like they're talking the way they speak, but they're not speaking in a way for the other person to receive it, right? And so she asked Kimmie, what do you need for more intimacy? She said time. So she's like, oh, is time your love language? And she said no. She said acts of service. So Kimmie shared She wants him to do more handiwork like she was saying last week. In the confessional, she said she would love to see Maurice laying tile, painting, and fixing stuff. Because as a single mom, she had to do so much on her own. So she would like to see him, doing that stuff to help her out. And so Maurice said that's the first time he's heard it put that way, and now he really understands. I just don't like this slow to understand that act that Maurice does. I really don't like it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of him playing in our faces, but whatever. Kimmie like it. We love it. So she tried them go through an intimacy drill. She had to sit on his lap and have deep conversations, staring into each other's eyes. They gonna practice it on the trip. Anywho, we get down to this restaurant, and Nell and Chris Fletcher getting it set up. They got all the cowboy hats for everybody. Stormi and Courtney came. I believe the Scotts came. Kimmie and Maurice came, and Marcel and Latisha came. When Marcel and Latisha came, they spoke to Stormi and Courtney, and Latisha gave Stormi and Courtney a hug. Stormi says in her confessional with Courtney that she feel like Latisha was being fake, coming over there giving them a hug, and she didn't like that. She feel like Latisha trying to mess with her. I was like, girl, what? There's no winning with Stormi, because I guarantee you, if Tisha would have ignored you like she ignored Kiki down to that barbecue, then you also would have been mad. So which one is it, Stormi? Like, you can't win with you, apparently. You don't want Marsau. You want Marsau to say something if you call him a bitch, and you don't want him to say something. You want him to address you. You don't want him to address Courtney. Like, girl, bye. Like, at this point, I don't care, Stormi. I really don't care. So anywho, I think then Mel came, Martell came. Mel said, she would not have came if she would have knew that Martell was going to be there. But, she wants to just enjoy the moment and see what the Fletchers got going on. I was like, Mel, didn't you get the memo that this is an all-cast event, girl? So anyway, so Marsau said, okay, what's the cowboy house like for? Like, what's going on? And so Nell Fletcher announces that they are going on a trip to Houston. She said, we're going to put the petty bull aside. We are all adults. Everybody got to go. She even invited the Whitlows. Tisha said good, because the Whitlows be on drink duty. They be making them drinks. I do remember they was making the drinks when they went on that Vegas trip. So everyone's excited to go. They looking like, okay, we down, we going, we good. Mel shared in her confessionals that she's down to go to Houston, however, she needs to set boundaries. Like, she want to be on a totally separate side of the house, away from Martell, and she need room with the lock, and then she'll be good to go. I was like, okay, girl. Then they looking at Courtney and Stormi like, y'all good? Y'all want to go? Y'all good? Kimmie's like, you guys good, right? Because you guys all talked and you're good, right? And so she was like, come talk over here, Stormi. I said, Kimmie gonna produce a scene if she don't do nothing else. Kimmie, this has nothing to do with you, but go on and produce this scene, girl. So Kimmie pulls Stormi to the side, right? And she's like, I know, the teacher told me y'all had a double date, y'all talked. So did you feel like, things were progress since then? Y'all good? And so Stormi's like, nah, I don't feel like nothing was really solved. And so on the other, a few feet away, really, we see Mel and Miss Nell and Latisha talking about it. Miss Nell's asking Latisha, like, you and Stormi talked, y'all good? What's up? And so Latisha's like, yeah, we good, we fine. I don't have no problem with her, Latisha. Latisha, you be acting oblivious as hell, girl. Anywho, so on the other side, Stormi, they bounce back and forth, y'all. So Stormi is telling Kimmie how, she didn't like how Marsau would be, she's like, we have our tit for tat, and, we got to it. Then we had our moment at the barbecue, and I feel like I was, sharing something really with him. And then I feel like now he coming back and weaponizing it against me, talking about my culture and all that stuff. I was like, girl, bye. And so, like, you not gonna tell Kimmie how you call this man a bitch? Although she knows about it. Anywho, then Miss Nell's asking Tisha, like, I heard something about the hair product thing and how, your stuff was copied. So Latisha explains that whole situation, how the girls' website, got plagiarism from Stormi's website, and how the guy that did it, he didn't really check it. And Mel was like, yeah, he should have caught that. And so she was like, yeah, that's on me for not, going behind people and checking their work and all that kind of stuff. And so Stormi's telling the same thing to Kimmie, and Stormi's like, really, I wasn't really feeling it because, she gonna copy my website, and then she tried to say like, oh, it's, you know, it's not my fault, so get over it. So then they played the clip from last week. Now, let me know in the comments if you feel like Tisha was giving it's not my fault, so get over it, because she did eventually apologize. Though it took her a long time to apologize. And if Stormi want to be mad about something, of course she should be mad about the whole website plagiarism thing. I'm not mad at that. I would be upset about that too. Like, I get that part, but the whole culture thing, I don't get. Okay. So Stormi's telling Kimmie about that. Kimmie's like, well, why did you invite them on this double date if you having problems with them? So Stormi thought, like, you know, they were moving forward, but then after everything else that happened, she can't really move forward. And so she's telling, Kimmie's like, well, don't you think we can, you know, go on this trip and have time where you guys can talk it out and come to some kind of resolve? Stormi said, nah, she don't see it. So Kimmie said, well, maybe, you know, for your room, you should create an oasis. So you just, so if you're feeling uncomfortable, you'll have a safe place to be, to zen out. So Stormi appreciated her telling her that, and she needed to talk with Kimmie, I guess, girl. So back on the other side of the restaurant, which is really only 3 feet away, y'all, Marsau was right there. And so Mel was asking, so what are y'all, you know, what are y'all gonna do, you know, on this trip if y'all not getting along? Marsau was like, nothing. He's like, get over it. Like, you know, we can all be cool, or we, at this point, he tired of it. He's like, it's enough of us to all hang around. We ain't got to really speak. It could be high and by, and that's it. And Ms. Nell was cracking up. And I was like, yeah, let's get over it. I agree with Marsau. Sorry to say. I know there's a lot of Marsau haters out there. Marsau's not a good guy. I don't think that. But he is entertaining on this show. But yeah, get over it. So anywho, so everybody talked it out, right? Then we see the men sit down with, all the men sat down together. And so Marcel's basically saying, like, we can keep the men and the women separated. We can have a good time, have a good trip. Martell's like, how's that going to happen? So they're like, Martell, you ain't even got no woman. Because he said he ain't got no woman. So Maurice is like, you going to call up somebody? So one of your old faithfuls. And so he's like, yeah, I should bring somebody. He's like, I know somebody in Houston I can bring. I said, who down in Houston that be messing with Martell? Because I don't think Coastal Law live in Houston, right? I know somebody in them streets knows about that. Speaking of the streets, before I move forward, shout out to one of our fellow YouTubers on these YouTube streets, Country Conversations with Diva D. I was on her live today, and she was talking about the drama with Mel and Kiki and somebody else on YouTube named Anthony, and somebody else on YouTube, I believe, is it Queen Sheba or Sheba, something like that. Anyway, I don't know those YouTubers. I don't follow them. I'm not talking about them in a bad way. I just know there's some drama, and I guess the Anthony guy, Mel felt like he was stalking her, and then I guess Kiki was telling somebody on YouTube the information and all that. So Mel did do a live about it. I didn't watch the live personally. Somebody did post it on their channel. I can't remember who did. Anyway, but shout out to Diva D. Check out her YouTube channel. Check out the live she had today. I could post the link in my description for y'all. But we had a good time on that live. So, and she was giving all the tea about what's going on in the Love and Marriage Huntsville streets. She did say Kiki and Mel are not beefing, but I guess Kiki was spilling things that happened on the Houston trip, and I guess some of her scenes got cut from the Houston trip due to that or something like that. So I don't know all the details. I got to go back and watch Mel's live like DVD told me to do, but y'all check out that live so y'all can be up on the gossip of the streets of Love and Marriage Huntsville, because y'all know they always got something going on. Anywho, Mel on the other side of the restaurant. Oh, let me finish with the guy. So Martell said he's going to call up somebody. And so Chris Fletcher said, not only do you not have no woman, she ain't got your name either. So then Maurice was making fun of him, talking about Holt. And so Courtney's like, well, did she change her name? He's like, well, she didn't change her name. Chris was like, oh, yeah, she read the paper. She changed her name. And so Courtney's like, oh, she had a ceremony? Chris is like, yeah, she had a ceremony. And then Martell's like, see, you supporting that BS. And so then on the other side of the restaurant, 3 feet away, Ms. Nell and Mel were talking. And so Ms. Nell's asking Mel how she's doing and how she feeling about the trip. And Mel's letting her know, like, you know, I'm good with the trip. However, like, ain't no more funny ha-ha with me and Martell. You know, I'm going to need a separate room. I'm going to need to be on the east wing of the house. And I'm going to need my door to be locked. Is basically what Mel said, okay? So, Then, you know, they basically all was like, okay, we all go, and Miss Nell decided to run over there, ride the bull. She wanted everybody to, you know, hype her up and all that. So Miss Nell got on that bull, honey. She was riding that bull. The two ladies from the restaurant jumped on it with her. That thing was bouncy, and they was like, come on, Miss Nell. So you better go off, Miss Nell. I got like 2 videos of me riding a bull. I don't think I ever posted them on here. I should, though. Anywho, riding a bull is really fun. Let me know if y'all, you know, ride mechanical bulls in the comments. So anyway, moving on, we get down to Houston right now. They staying on some big old ranch property or something. You know, they doing an Airbnb, y'all. So shady producers do this like Dallas intro. And so they put Houston across the screen, and they show like, they introduce everybody like it's a TV drama series and everything. So they put Melody's name and what they said, the saloon singer Sally, and Martell was Tantrum Todd, and everybody had, you know, different little names. It was funny. You know how production do, y'all. So Chris and Elle get there. They looking at the rooms. They trying to figure out what room is going to be theirs. Of course, they get the, you know, they get the master's quarters. And so then Mel came, and she was like, hey, y'all, where y'all at? And so she talking about, she called Mel. She's like, y'all looking good. And so they figuring out the rooms and everything like that, right? And so then Martell came, right? And so Martell said in his confessional, he don't have no problem, you know, being in the same house with Mel, seeing Mel. It don't bother him one way or the other. Sure, Martell. Mel shared in her confessional that she is excited for this trip to Houston. Now, everybody know me, know I love a good vacation. Now, I usually go out the country, but Houston will have to do for now. But she like to turn up, okay? So this was so funny to me, y'all. So when Mel came in, and no, before Martell came in, let me rewind, bag it up. So before Martell came in, so Mel was talking to the Fletchers in the kitchen, and so she was like, okay, where my room about to be? Where we about to be? So they was like, we got a good setup for you, girl. We got it together, because Miss Nell was like, you know, I got to find a place for Mel. You could tell she was irritated. So Chris Fletcher was like, oh yeah, we're gonna have you over there and my brother. So Chris Fletcher was trying to be funny and throw some shade, right? And so then Mel said, oh, hold up, let me tell you right now what we not gonna do. So she said her confessional, she need to communicate right now to let the Fletchers know what her boundaries are, that she need to be far away from Martell as possible. She need a room with a lock. Don't be putting them name together. Don't be speaking them to existence. Don't try to force nothing. And don't make them do any activities together, okay? So, anywho, y'all know my mouth get dry. So she let that be clear to Chris Fletcher in that moment. She said, don't make them do no activities together. Don't be trying to force that. She's like, is that clear? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's fine. I think he was just trying to joke, but she wasn't having that. And she's like, it's no more funny, ha with this, okay? I don't blame her, because she tired of everybody making the jokes. And at this point, we can stop. But they're going to still cut up. And, you know, she's talking about people respecting her boundaries. Really, production don't respect her boundaries, really. But anywho, you still on the show, girl. So it sucks, though. I'm not, you know, Mel has the right to feel the way she wants to feel. Anywho, then Martell had came, right? And so then when Martell came, he said hey to Chris Fletcher and hey to Miss Nell. And he's like, hey, Nell, hey, Miss Nell. So Miss Nell goes, hey, Martell, how you doing? And so then Mel says to Miss Nell, oh, you want to stand over here and talk over here? I'll just give myself a tour. I was cracking up. And then he was like, good to see you, Mel. She threw up a finger. I don't know if she flipped him off or not, but I was cracking up. That was funny to me, y'all. So then I think Martell said, doesn't matter to him if Mel want to say hi or not. He think he is dumb, that she don't want to speak and all that. Sure, Martell. Anywho, everybody starts arriving to the house, both sets of Scots, and Kimmie asked, did everybody RSVP and all that? She said, the Whitlows said they couldn't come because they have family issues. And so Latisha's like, dang, they ain't gonna be here to make the drinks. So then, they give them a tour and show them the rooms, see who gonna get what room. Both pairs of Scots, I guess, got the Jack and Jill room. You know how it's 2 rooms and they connected to 1 bathroom, basically. And so they was like, the Jack and Jill room, they wasn't here for that. So Kimmie's like, oh, the Jack and Jill room? Like, they was like, that's for kids. If y'all didn't pay for this Airbnb, y'all gonna be just fine with that Jack and Jill room, okay? And so Kimmie was like, oh, I got to share a bathroom with Marsau. She was not feeling that. And she said her room was warm. So anyway, speaking of Kimmie, we see Kimmie and Maurice in their room. Now, Kimmie didn't change her clothes and her wig, okay? I was like, when did she change? So she's telling Maurice they got to do their homework that the sex therapist gave them this weekend. So he's like, yeah, I need to be on good behavior because I've been bad lately. She's like, yeah, for you to do, you did this interview and now, it's spreading into this big thing where my husband is speaking about our sex life and it's coming across disrespectful to me. And so they played a clip of when he had that interview with Carlos King when he said that his wife is really doing him a service by rolling over and having sex with him and how he must have sex every day. It's a necessity for him. All that stupid, foolish stuff he said. I said, y'all gonna stop doing them interviews with Carlos King because that's what's getting y'all in trouble. All them interviews with Carlos King, and it got Tiffany in trouble. She didn't have to leave the show. And it got Maurice in trouble. We think he is a scum of the earth now. Y'all stop doing them interviews with Carlos King on that Reality with the King podcast. Anywho, but I'm gonna watch it. So, she, was talking to him about that, how, like, her family became concerned to the point where her mom was calling her and asking, like, is everything going on okay in the household? So she's like, you're going to have to apologize to me and my mama. So they sat down and did their little intimacy exercise where she had to sit on his lap again or hold hands, whatever they did. And they just basically reenacted about how he was going to apologize to her mama. And I was like, yeah, you owe everybody an apology for that, Maurice, especially Kimmie, though, and her family. That's crazy. Anyway, and then I believe the last scene is, we didn't see Stormi and Courtney come yet in this episode, so maybe they're coming next episode. And Kiki might be coming next episode. So I'm really interested to see that, especially hearing what I heard on the live today. But anywho, I believe the last scene is Tisha and Marcel, right? So we see Tisha and Marcel in the room, and Tisha saying, like, dang, it sucked that the Whitlow's not coming because they're not going to be able to make the drinks. So that's why the house is dry. So we got to get some drinks popping in here. And she's like, speaking of Tiffany, I saw her at the store. She had baby Ace, and he's so cute. And she was talking about postpartum and her mental health and all that. And so she was like, speaking of babies, I was feeling sick, right? And I was like, last time I felt like that, I was pregnant. So I said, let me just take a pregnancy test. So Marcel was like looking on the bed. Now, mind you, he laid on the bed like this. He's looking crazy. Like, what? So then Tisha was like, well, the test came back negative. And so he was like, sorry, I'm just, speechless right now. So he was like, you do know I got a vasectomy, right? She's like, yeah, but vasectomies, they don't always take, I know like 3 people who, have vasectomies and they still got pregnant. Like the couple, the dad had a vasectomy, the man had a vasectomy and the woman still got pregnant. And so Marcel shared in his confessional that Tisha got a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degree, and she know how babies are made. And so she know that you can't get pregnant with a vasectomy. He said he ain't worried about the pregnancy test. He's worried that, wait, now, what did he say? He's not worried about the results, or he worried about the fact that she felt she had to take a pregnancy test? I forgot how he worded it. Anyway, so he ain't happy with that. So he was like, yeah, if you told me you had to take a pregnancy test or you got pregnant, my first thought wouldn't be, let's take a pregnancy test. My first thought would be, we need to take a blood test. And so she was like, really? That's what you would say, Marcel? And he was like, yeah. And she was like, and after I get them results, I will leave you. And he was like, how you going to leave me? Because I'm going to have left you. I was like, oh, that's how you feel, Marcel. So then she was like, what? And you're not going to be leaving me because I'm going to have left you. And so she was like, you know what? You can go get a drink on that note. Like, this is getting real disrespectful. And it very much was. And so she was like, really, Marcel, is that what you think I would, like, cheat on you or something? And so he was like, Tisha, like, if you're telling me, that it's a possibility you're pregnant, I got a vasectomy, like, basically, like, what else am I supposed to think? And he was like, and then she's talking about how, like, oh, look at the percentages. How many people get pregnant and the man had a vasectomy? And so then he was like, is this how you feel? Like, he was like, it feels like you're trying to pull a Marsau on Marsau. Y'all, I hollered at that part because Marsau know what he be doing, right? And then he was like, is this how you feel when I'm, telling you stuff? He's like, this must be how you feel. So basically he felt like Tisha gaslighted him. I was like, oh, you don't like to be gaslit, do you, Marsau? And so then she was like, no, I feel like this conversation is getting really disrespectful. We need to stop right here. Yes, y'all do. And so he was like, towards who? He's like, this is towards me. Like, and then he was like, basically, nah, like this, you don't know how I'm set up. Like, this is not it. So we see they gonna carry this whole storyline out to the next episode. And I said on Twitter, okay, Tisha and Marsau, y'all gonna keep playing with this marriage long enough. Y'all done play with this marriage about cheating allegations on Marsau. Now y'all about to play with Tisha possibly cheating on Marsau, or Marsau cheating on Tisha first, I should say. Now we got to play around with Tisha cheating on Marsau. Y'all keep playing with that marriage long enough, and y'all gonna end up like Martell and Mel. Anyway, hopefully the Houston trip goes well. We can get down to this reunion. Y'all let me know what y'all thought of the episode. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I'll talk to y'all again soon. Bye.